Good everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. Now in this tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to CSS variables. Now before we proceed, kindly do well to like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright, so CSS variables, also known as custom properties, allows you to store reusable values in CSS and to use them throughout your style sheet. And they are especially useful for theming, maintaining consistent design systems, and also reducing repetitions of codes. All right. Now, if you come to this my interface here, this my HTML document, you can see that we have this P element and we have this write-up inside. Okay, so we are going to use this to test run or to practicalize what we are going to do today. Alright, you can see the output here on my web browser. Alright, so the first thing you need to know is how to declare your CSS variable. And to declare your CSS variable, you use you can see double column, use the double column and the variable name syntax inside a selector. Usually you can see this column and root, usually root for global scope. Okay, now this is going to make the variable that you are going to declare to be globally available. Remember, this selector is going to make the variable that you are going to declare inside to be globally available. All right, and you can see the syntax for it, which I wrote down here. All right, let's go to practicalize that. So here, do this. Alright, okay. Then the next thing we need is this variable name. Okay. So you do this hyphen, two hyphen, then the variable name. So I'm going to say primary color as a variable name. Primary hyphen color as a variable name. Remember, it can be any name of your choice. Then a colon, then any value of our choice or values of our choice. Okay, so I'm just going to say blue. All right, now in the other sense, you can just see this as assigning blue to this primary color variable name. Okay, you're assigning blue to this variable. Okay, so whenever we want to make use of this value here, we can just call this variable. We can just make use of this variable, because now this variable is now holding this value. All right, so let's proceed. So the next thing you need to know is how to use your CSS variable. So here I have my P, which is this. Okay, I have the P tag here as the selector for this our P HTML element. And here I'm going to say let's change the color. Okay, then this. Now if it's previously, we can be able to do this. You can see we've changed the color to blue. All right, but we are going to use the var function. Right, we are going to be using the var function because we want to make use of this our CSS variable. We don't want to be making use of this anymore. We are going to make use of this our CSS variable. And to make use of that, you use the var function. Very simple. Var, and you open and close your brackets and your semicolon. Okay, now inside this var function, that is where you now type in your variable name. Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and you see primary hyphen color, which is the variable name. And if you take a good look at my output here at the browser here, you can see that the color has changed to blue. Okay, you can see the color has changed to blue. So this is just saying this is just something like doing this. All right, but in another sense. Okay, so this is going to see this as blue. Remember, blue is assigned to this. Okay, like I said, it can be any name of your choice. So let's say primary. So yeah, I'm just going to remove this. Okay, so you can see. All right, And take note, this is what important. So if I should remove this, and maybe, okay, you see it's not working. All right, so you need these two hyphen, very important. You need the two hyphen. And also when you want to call it inside the var function, make sure you have your two hyphen, then the name. Okay, so let's say we also have we have a span element, and let's say we have, I'm just going to copy this JavaScript part here, or let me just cut it out and paste it inside this my span element here. Okay, so here I will just say span. Then maybe for this I want to change the background color, so the var function. All right, and if I want to use this same blue color, I'm just going to use the variable name here. All right, so you can see, right, this same variable name, but for here we use the color property and we place in the var function, and we use the primary this our variable name here, primary, which is holding blue. Okay, or you can say which we assign blue to it. Okay, so this is just same thing as saying the color is blue. Then for this, the background color is blue. All right, so you can see. All right, now if remember I said this root is used to make is going to make the variable to be globally available. As you can see, we can use the variable in different selectors, inside different selectors. All right, now let's come here and let's say we have this div. All right, and let's say we have a write-up inside this div. Let's say I'm going to cut this out. And let's place it inside this div. Okay, which is this. Then let's come here, div as the selector. All right, then let's say secondary, let's say red. Okay, now I'm going to use it inside this my div, and it's going to work, but I cannot use it outside this div. Okay, and I'm going to explain more. So let's say color, then we say var, then inside this we now use the variable name, which is secondary. Okay, so you can now see we have the red color. All right, we have the red color. Okay, so peradventure, okay, let's say we have a p tag here, and I'm just going to use this dummy words. Let's say 20, lorem 20. So we have these dummy words here. Okay, all right, I've used the p tag before. So let's say we have the h4. Okay, then yeah, let's come here, h4, then let's say color var, then let's try to use this variable. Okay, all right, you see that it did not take any effect. All right, you see it did not work, it did not take any effect, because this is locally declared. This variable is locally declared. Remember I said this root is going to make it to be globally available. All right, it's going to make it to be globally available. All right, but when you declare or when you create the variable inside this other element, it's not going to be globally seen. Okay, you're just only going to see it in that particular rule, in that particular what row. It's not going to see it outside of that your row. All right. So let's use the primary. Okay, so now you can now see that the color is what? Blue. All right. So you can still have something else. Let's say border. All right, as the variable name, and let's assign a value to it. Let's say 1 pesos solid. You can say green. Okay, so let's say you want to give it a border, so we can just use the border property, the CSS border property, then the var function, then the variable name, which is what? Border. Okay, so now you can now see the green border around it. We can increase the border width here. You can say 3. Right, so you can see it. All right, you can give this a border also. Any of all these elements, you can give them a border. Okay, so let's say border, then the var function, then you can say border. Okay, so you can see it here. All right, you can also give them a border radius. So let's come here to create another variable, and we can say border hyphen radius or border radius, any one of our choice. Let's say border radius. All right, so border radius, let's say 5 pesos, or let's say 35 pesos for the border radius. Okay, so let's come here. Let's say we want to give this a border radius. So border hyphen radius, which is the CSS property. Then we'll now use the var function. Then inside we'll now place the variable name. All right, so you can see the border radius here. You can see we can still give this a border radius. All right, so the var function, then we say border hyphen radius, which is the variable name. Okay, you can see we can still come here to manipulate the border radius. So let's change it to 15. All right, you can say 10 pesos. Okay, so this is how to make use of your CSS variables. This is how to make use of CSS variables.